Okay, all of this is going in. All the bad mouthing, even bad mouthing Jerry as well. All right.
Only the audio. I mean, that wasn't captured on camera, right?
Even with, well, there's evidence of it now.
There's evidence of it.
Okay, these are your interrogation papers.
Interrogation papers.
Yeah.
We have a lie detector as well.
Oh. I don't do that sort of content, Yeah,
Yeah. YouTube.
Not that sort of content, although it will be fun. But then apparently lie detectors are super ineffective.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's very they're not
Yeah.
scientific at all. That you
Yeah.
can actually defeat if you know what you're doing, you can actually trick the the what's that, polygraph machine. So let's start then. Our long-winded digression over into other stuff. Thanks for doing this. Welcome, Ian.
Thank you for having me. I think this is probably the first interview I've had, like, podcast.
First time ever doing any podcast, and hopefully
by myself, probably. I mean, I've done a few with a band before. I mean, we've got radio podcasts and things like that. But by myself, I think that's my first.
Right, as you coming on in your own personal capacity, lah.
Quite surprised that you asked me, actually. I mean, we've had some previous legends on the podcast. You've got Jen Thompson, Greg Henderson.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Quite surprised you asked me, actually.
No. You shouldn't be surprised. You shouldn't be surprised because one of the main objectives of why I'm doing this podcast is to talk to, obviously it's called MixChat.
Right.
It's to chat with, I'm not interested in talking with celebrities, the stars. Of course, if I get those, then usually you can get a lot more views and all that. I want to talk to people who are professionals in the business, in the industry, the engineers, the producers, musicians, people who are behind the scenes, people who make it happen, and usually it's because, basically it's because we share a kinship, or we are all, even though we may be different generations, but we all come from that same mold, and we all share the same goals, the same interests, and we can chat about stuff and geek out about stuff and nerd out on things where most
others
people
wouldn't understand.
Others won't understand, So to all the 15 people who are going to view this, nah, just kidding.
Surely more.
Surely more. It's great to talk to. Firstly, yes, I do talk to some of the more older, experienced ones, the veterans in the industry and all that. But on my channel also, on all the podcasts, I've talked to a lot of newer and up-and-coming ones as well. People who've done, really, really well for themselves.
Right.
Because it's not hard. It's not hard, but it's not easy nowadays to come out and graduate, right? And I'm sure you got an interesting story about, you're graduating. We'll talk about that. To come out from studying this, whether music production or audio engineering, and to come out in this climate, the employment climate that is right now. So, if you share your story, if we share everyone's story, then everyone can sort of know this is how he did it, this is how she did it, and then perhaps, they can take some lessons and from it and, and see what path that they can take.
Right.
Yeah. So enough of me talking, man. I'm rambling on for so long already. Why don't you just introduce yourself, for people who are listening, who are watching, tell about yourself, what you do, and then also your background in music.
Right. So my name is Ian. I'm mainly a musician. I play for the Filters, local band. I also do some engineering work. For our own stuff and freelance, I guess. Yeah. I'm currently not working in the studio, unfortunately. I'm working in a music shop doing sales, but I do have my own side projects and all.
Yeah. We'll talk about that as well, because again, career advice, it's really important for anyone who's thinking of going into this to sort of know what to expect
Yeah.
So I mean, growing up, has music ever been something that was in your life ever since you were a kid?
Yeah, because I actually started learning the electone when I was 3 years old.
Nice.
Yeah, and so you can say that. I mean, and my mom loves listening to music. I mean, every day if she's at home, she would have some kind of music playing through the stereo, you know. So I don't think my parents were really musical, but they did enjoy music, and I played the electone. Started when I was 3 years old. Kept that on until my teenage years, and then eventually I got bored of it, you know. I picked up the guitar when I was 11, picked it up by myself, picked up a bit of drums as well. 12, I don't play drums anymore. I let the drummer do it instead, right? But yeah, I mean, I have been filled with music my whole life.
Wow, that's very cool. You know, your parents, like family-wise, were very encouraging about it.
Yeah, I mean,
obviously they sent you for lessons. You know,
yeah, they did
classes.
send me for lessons. And I did want to pursue music at one point, but I went the other route to do audio engineering instead. Well, the logic at that time was because it was sort of like gray area whether, you know, could even make a career out of music in Malaysia. And so I studied audio engineering at first, you know, and so that I could sort of do both at the same time.
Yeah.
And I guess that's sort of what I'm doing right now.
And yeah, I think that's actually the smart move and wise move, because if you went to like a purely kind of a music studies, you're not going to be able to adapt. You're not going to have the skills and the knowledge to go into music production and all that. You know, and in this day and age, right, you need to be both. If you're a musician, you need to know a little bit of how, you know, of music production, how to operate DAW, how to work with, you know, MIDI, how to work with sequencers, how to do a little bit of mixing and editing by yourself, because that's the whole nature of the industry. It's evolved in such a way. Whereas if you don't go and study music production or audio engineering, right, then you can still play music on the side, and that's an asset to have a musical background, you know.
That's right. And I think having a musical background helps a lot when it comes to being in the studio, you know, like just simple things of judging whether something sounds right or not, you know, in a song, in a record. I guess not everyone will be able to do that, you know. You could play something wrong and
correct.
Someone wouldn't even be able to tell.
That's right. There are, you know, if we go a little further back, there have been sometimes people who get into audio, who become audio engineers, who start out not having any sort of musical background. Again, it's not a saying that you can't, but
definitely helps.
It definitely helps. It can be an asset that you can bring along with you to sessions, you know, or any sort of situation where your skills needs to be involved, because then you are speaking that common language with the musician that you work with, is it? Yeah. That's right. Imagine if you, as an audio engineer, you can't tell that, you know,
someone sang flat or anything,
or sharp, you know, or the chord progressions or stuff like that.
I'll tell you a story. Once, actually, I recorded a band. I'll not name it, but
the name shall be revealed to protect the guilty and the innocent.
There was once. It was recording a guitar part. It was a band, right? It was a band. It was recording guitar parts, and I was just like, actually, I had watched this band play a live show just like I don't know, maybe weeks prior to the recording, right? And I was just like, why does the guitar sound so out of tune the whole show, you know? Then when he came to record and he tuned his guitar and he started recording his guitar parts, and I was just like, that doesn't sound right. But I just saw him tune his guitar, so something's wrong. So I checked on his tuner and it was set to like 230 hertz, calibrated to 430 hertz or something like that, 430 hertz. So I just went to him, did you know that this is supposed to be at 440, and can you not hear that it's not tuned, that it's flat, you know? Then he's just like, oh no, I never noticed. So it's just like, sometimes, you know, that baffles me quite a bit sometimes.
Yeah. The ones I've heard before are maybe once or twice where can it go down to 430? It's not a lot. No? I think most tuners, maybe some tuners can, right?
Yeah.
But most tuners that I know can't go beyond
Maybe it wasn't
435 or
maybe it was just 5 cents.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it was definitely not 440.
Even if you like go 438,
Yeah, exactly.
you can
Maybe
really
out,
hear
yeah.
that it's a little bit, not only just out of key,
Giving you
but even
microtones.
correct, it's a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
out. 432, okay, which is that sort of the whatever
earthy, spiritual.
the frequency, the magic
yeah.
frequency thing. I won't go into that.
Let's not go into that.
Some people will get really upset. You can read and Google all this stuff.
You can find it on YouTube. Yeah.
When you play a 432, right? That's almost a half step down,
Yeah.
It almost sounds like a half step down.
Yeah.
Now I had, again, not revealing any names.
Yeah.
I had one band who wanted to.
Record
For a
the
brief
whole thing.
period of time, they were into the 432 thing. Luckily, the tuner cannot go down to 432.
So I just decided to ditch the whole idea.
So it's like, okay. Sorry,
Thank the tuner.
the tuner you can't calibrate it to 432. So it's like, all
I'm
right.
surprised they didn't do it in like 438, but I guess they wanted it to be 432, right?
Yeah. No, it's 42. It
Yeah.
can't even be 432. It's 432. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a fascinating topic altogether, and we can go into that. There are some areas, but it's not something that you attribute so much like. I would say supernatural. It gets a little woohoo cookie kind of a thing,
Yeah.
There are some things which are scientifically valid, but not all that far out. Yeah. So let's kind of cycle around that, right? With the studying the electron, right? You did theory as well.
Yeah, I did theory up until grade 5.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, grade 5.
And again, I think that's very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, very helpful to be able to at least do segregate a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, you don't have to be like super
Immediate.
fast. At least you can.
That's an E.
Yeah,
That's
or even just to be able to follow maybe a lead sheet or a chart. That's very, very helpful.
right. Pick up rhythms and all.
Yeah. That's very useful. Like if you're working with if let's say you're working with a string arranger or producer, and they're there and you're engineering, then they said, go to bar 42
Right.
or something. You'll be like, huh? Oh, where? At least if you can follow the
You can follow it.
chart, then okay, all right.
Not too lost.
Yeah, you're not too lost, lah. Yeah. And that's the key, that helps to keep the session going smooth, lah. Yeah. All right. So let's so electron first, then guitar at 11.
Guitar.
All right, all throughout, that the teenagers. What made you switch to guitar?
Well, actually, I was fascinated with guitar since young. I mean, my older cousin had a guitar, which every time I went to his place, I tried playing it, but I was just told my fingers are too small. I don't have the strength to press it and all. Eventually, when I was 11, I was just like, my school had like some basic acoustic guitar classes, and I went for it. I went there with a free classical guitar that I got. It wasn't even an acoustic guitar, right? So I learned a few chords, the usual, G, E minor, C, D. And then eventually I went to a popular bookstore with my dad, and I saw this book of just chords. And I just picked it up from there, and I found it quite easy to pick up chords because I already had a decent knowledge from electone, knowing
the foundation.
knowing key signatures, what chord should be in that key, what sharps, flats, and things like that. So I think I picked up rhythm playing on the guitar really easily, like through the weeks. As the weeks had gone by, the class had not even learned F sharp minor yet, but I already had, from home, so I just had that short period of acoustic guitar license. Then after that, soon after I picked up the electric guitar, I bought my cousin sold us the electric guitar that he was using. It was a Squire Bullet Strat. I still have it to this day, and I've swapped out some pickups and things like that as well. Yeah, so I mainly picked up the electric guitar by myself. I think. And I did go for some lessons, but to be honest, I went for those lessons just so I could have the grade 5 cert. Because at the time I wanted to study music, and to go into music college, you would have to have grade 5 minimum, right? Yeah. So I did rock school for electric guitar. But yeah, well, I studied audio engineering instead.
Oh no, yeah. No, that's a very good, thing that you shared. Were you highly, what was your what's your main motivation?
What's my main motivation?
Yeah.
Oh man.
For picking up the guitar.
I don't know. I think I was just, like I said, I was tired of the electone. I was bored of it already, and I guess at the time I picked up the electric guitar, acoustic guitars. I had started listening to more rock music and things like that, very really guitar heavy driven stuff.
Yeah.
I think the first song that I learned on my electric guitar was Bon Jovi or something like that.
Oh, okay.
You give them a bad name, I think. That was got the riff. Yeah. So
was it something you wanted to learn, or was it?
Yeah. No, it was something I wanted to learn.
Okay,
Yeah. I just picked up a song from my list of illegally downloaded music files.
Oh, right.
From online on my iPod.
I mean, because that's 80s, that's like late 80s.
Yeah. But I was playing electric guitar, so that was what I was fascinated with.
Okay.
So that was I went through a whole like 80s glam rock kind of period
actually,
while learning how to play guitar.
Yeah, that's actually interesting, because different people pick up. Again, I think during the teenage years of whatever is hot on the radio or something like that, because that would make it. If you're around that time, that would be during the 2000s?
2008, 2009.
Okay,
I mean, at the time, there was a lot of pop punk as well on MTV, so I was picking all that up as well, Fall Out Boy, Simple Plan, Paramore.
Correct, yeah.
So it was a mix of all that stuff.
Yeah, because that was like the alternative era. So I was surprised when you said, Bon Jovi.
Yeah, that's what I started with, but it wasn't the only thing that I did.
Because obviously 2000s you had new metal, alternative, and pop punk and all that.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And now everything else, I don't know. Now it's gone through. I mean, it's 20 over years, and music and rock music in particular has evolved. We'll talk a little bit more about music down the line. So after secondary school, where did you go? Where did you study?
SAE Institute.
SAE. Yeah. Right. Correct. SAE in Malaysia lah.
Malaysia. Unfortunately. Yeah. SAE. Yeah.
That was what year?
What year was
you
that?
Enrolled?
I think late 2013. Late or 2014, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were in there for.
I was there for 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, actually, because there were like some management issues, and our course got delayed and stuff like that.
Correct. And obviously, I think it's no. I mean, everyone who's in this sort of industry, sort of knew what happened, SAE Malaysia now is no longer here.
No longer, yeah.
Yeah, and you were. I
one
think,
of the last batches.
One of the very last batches to graduate with an actual SAE certification,
right.
Yeah.
Even to this day, I'm not sure whether that's legit or not, because like they didn't even print it in a like certificate paper. I feel like I could have done this by myself.
Wow. Okay.
It was signed by the Australian, SAE, but the material of paper that they chose wasn't even certificate paper, It was just like an A4 paper.
Maybe they just sent a PDF and just said, okay, here, you go and print it out.
Hopefully not.
Oh, no.
Hopefully not.
But, I mean, there is that accreditation there, for SAE, the actual signature is there. So there's that value there, see. Yeah. I think it's evolved now, right, because it changed to Epitome.
Yeah.
And now it's changed again, It's changed
I didn't know it changed again.
Yeah, very recently. Now it's called CATS.
CATS?
Yeah.
Are they still doing the same thing, or?
They have actually, it's actually now focused back a lot more on creative. On creative.
Interesting.
I forgot what CATS stands for. I wish I had someone here to
spell that.
I wish I had a producer to just Google. It's literally CATS.
CATS.
CATS. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, someone can fact check me if you get me wrong,
Right.
Yeah, but that's the whole saga and whole story. I mean, what was your experience like studying there? Studying on Yeah.
I made a lot of good friends. You know, you can't take that away. And we did a lot of projects, assignments together. So in that sense, it was fine. Unfortunately, the studios were not well maintained. Drum hits were not replaced and things like that. So I found that a lot of times I just recorded at home for my assignments. Recorded at home for my assignments.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we did get to use. We got to experience both, analog and digital. So analog, we've got all the patch cables, outboard gear, and stuff like that. Digital, they had I can't remember what controller it was. D command.
Yeah.
D command. Yeah.
So obviously, I think in SAE they train you in Pro Tools.
Pro Tools, that's right. Yeah.
Pro Tools. Yeah. I do remember going there and teaching one workshop. But it's long time ago. It's probably even before you. So there was that.
Back when they were in Taiwan?
That D command. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't really remember exactly where. But I clearly remember going in there. It's supposed to be teaching some kind of a drum miking workshop. A drum workshop. And even though I did learn Pro Tools, right. In college, in ICOM, but I left it all, once I stepped out, once I finished.
So have I. I don't use Pro Tools anymore, no.
Yeah. And then I sat in front of the thing. It's like, okay, give me 10 minutes.
Give me 10 minutes.
Let me get my head around,
yeah.
Okay, all right. So it took me about 10 minutes to sort of get used to it. Yeah. So studying there 2 years, 2+ years.
3
right?
years, yeah.
3 years, right. And then graduating. So one of the things which people may not know is that was it during your final semester or after you graduated?
Oh,
that you actually came here?
During my final semester, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were required to do an internship, right?
Internship, 3 months. Yeah. So I interned here.
Yeah. So you and a whole long line, lot of people.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, it's great to be back here. I mean, I love the studio here. It's always like a homely feel here. I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So I mean, the experience, I think hopefully it was as good,
No, I learned a lot.
As it was for me.
I learned a lot just watching you do your thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's really, really, it's an important thing because I really treasured when I was also, during my formative years, I really appreciated the time which I, spent with my mentors and with the people who I technically I interned with, that was really, really useful and formative years. Like whatever I do now, like my procedures and techniques, even some catchphrases that sometimes I utter in the studio.
Yeah.
Most of it came from Greg Anderson because I actually, mentored under him, So he produced our two of our albums. So it's like I spent a lot of time working with him. So it's like even my workflow and how I set up Cubase and all that, it's like it was exactly like how he sets it up, lah.
Right.
So speaking of like being trained in Pro Tools, what sort of let's go into the more gear techie sort of questions now. So what's your current setup like? What DAW are you using?
I'm using Studio One. It's a bit unconventional. PreSonus. I mean, I wouldn't say unconventional, just not as famous, I guess. PreSonus Studio One. I'm running on version 4 right now. It's a bit outdated, but that's all I really need at the moment.
Right. Yeah. What are they up to right now?
6, I think. Studio One 6, and a lot of the new updates are for sort of like producers, that kind of thing. Sort of like how Ableton's got a workflow for producers. You just easily drag and drop things. I think so. Studio One 6 right now has got a lot more of those kind of features. But since I'm doing a lot of live music recording, band recording, so I don't really need those features. So I'm okay with 4.
Yeah, I think a lot of DAWs are also recognizing that, that's kind of where the
that's the direction they
market,
headed.
The market is there, the market share is there. So even Cubase and all that is still,
Yeah.
The newer ones, they have a lot more features that.
It's 12 right now, right?
It's up to 12 right now, yeah. But even I'm not on the latest one. Yeah.
You running 10?
Still 10.5, yeah. You know,
enough.
yeah. Long complicated story as to why, you know, it's basically got to do with hardware and OS systems.
Yeah.
If I need to go to change even to 10.5 and I need to go to like Windows 11 now and then.
What Windows are you running now?
Oh, you'll be surprised. This is Windows 7.
Windows 7. Okay.
Which I would argue was still one of the best and most stable, you know, OSs for Windows, but it has stretched to a point where
there's no more support for it.
It has not been support for many years already, but now it's the plugins.
Right.
Like the plugin installers, some of them do not support.
Okay.
So if anything were to go wrong, not to say that you can't, that you have to go and use the legacy, you know, the workaround individual things. So it's been a bit of a hassle. Yeah, and there are some of the newer plugins as well, which, you know, just won't support. Windows 7.
Right.
I think that like the latest updates for Waves and the latest update for Universal Audio won't support. Yeah, so I'm like, for my UAD plugins, I'm stuck at this particular version.
Yeah. You can't upgrade.
I can't upgrade to the latest ones. Same with Waves. I think Waves, I'm like at version V12 or something like that.
Yeah. They're on 13 or 14.
Now it's 14 now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so I have to stick to the V12 versions. I can't go to the V14 versions. Long story line. And then to do that, it involves a lot of change. Literally, I got to buy a whole new machine.
Yeah.
And that's expensive. Okay.
Yeah.
It's costly now. Yeah. That's my story. I digress. Okay, let's just go back. You know. So Studio One. What do you like about Studio One actually?
I find it really easy to use. So it's actually quite customizable. Like I'm sure it's not the only DAW that can do this, but you can basically arrange how you want them to be. In fact, they've got presets where like if you come from Pro Tools, for example, there is a Pro Tools preset, so they sort of change everything to like a Pro Tools kind of layout, you know. So it's easier for you to transition. But I think right now my template is just sort of custom, honestly, to how I have it. And what I like about it, it's mainly really easy to use. That's really all. And why I've not used another DAW is just because I'm used to it already. Yeah, I'm used to it. Yeah,
just too lazy to change now.
Yeah, once in a while, I might have to open up Cubase for whatever reason, projects or whatever. But most of the time, I'm on Studio One. Yeah, and as you know, Pro Tools is not an easy software to acquire. You know.
Especially now, cost wise.
Exactly,
you know?
So expensive.
It's not friendly for the entry level, you know, consumer. But I guess that's where Avid wants to target.
Subscriptions now, right?
Correct. Yeah, and I think they have just started to announce that they are reintroducing like perpetual licenses.
Oh, are they?
Just because again, like user base is complaining, you know. Yeah, it's like, you know.
And Studio One, you can connect up to 5 computers. Other DAW allows you to do that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that means one
account,
one
5
license.
Yeah, one license.
Okay.
5
right.
computers.
That's very cool. I remember that Studio One was really, when it came out, it was really picked up. I think the user base, the growth was really, really fast.
It was really fast.
I think that they timed it, you know, their entry into the market right when, you know, it was really, really exploding. So it was a very fast growing DAW.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
a lot of people switched actually.
Correct. Yeah. A lot of people switched to it. I know of I think even Fauzi, you know, Fauzi Mazuki, even, you know, someone's such a veteran mastering engineer as Hassim also switched over to Studio One. Can correct me, Fauzi, if you're watching this. You know, I know distinctively that when Studio One came out, it did trigger Cubase, right, Steinberg, to sort of rework. I think from their version 8 onwards, right, to in reaction, they made their layout to be like to look more like Studio One. Or Studio One.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I feel that was, you know, again, could be my own impression, but yeah. But it's like, hey, they start making the layout where you'll have your instrument racks and your VSTs on this
On the right
panel
side,
on the right. Yeah. Suddenly
Okay,
Cubase,
yeah, now that you mention it, yeah.
yeah, suddenly with I think Cubase 8 or 9 onwards, they started introducing that. It's like
The kind of
hey,
layout.
yeah, it's like market lah, reaction lah, so it's like
Right.
like that. So I thought that was very cool. So that was definitely a reason why Studio One has got a big impact.
It was also the price, I think, actually, because it's really affordable.
Yeah.
Like I remember, I mean, I started using Studio One because the first interface I had was a PreSonus 8 channel and to record drums, and it came with Studio One Prime. Studio One Artist at the time, which was free, and eventually I used it a lot, but the free version does not support third-party VST plugins.
Okay.
So I upgraded. There was a Black Friday sale, to upgrade from Artist to the professional. I think professional model was only like 600 something ringgit, and at the time it was Black Friday sale, so it was 50% off. So it's just like, let's just get this,
no brainer.
And actually, speaking of mastering, it comes with a mastering suite as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's a whole. Yeah, correct. There was also one of the main draws. It's like the whole complete workflow, right? Even up to the point of like even exporting and creating the masters, which are like straight away
exactly
ready
like Wavelab.
Correct. Yeah. So it's everything in one.
Yeah.
I think it's also because it's also bundled with a lot of hardware. I think Studio One and I think their biggest competitor is it's Studio One and Cubase lah. These two lah. Cubase also always bundles their software along.
That's
with,
right.
Yeah.
Studio One you get Melodyne and Cubase you've got the what's it called? Very Audio.
Very Audio. Yeah. I think another one is. Have you ever been Ableton user?
No, I've not.
No, huh?
No, I've not.
That's a totally different workflow. Yeah. I had to use it once or twice because there was a client who insisted. To because he was mixing his track, so I was there to sort of like to help to improve his mix. But his was on Ableton, you see.
Right.
Yeah. So it took me a while to again, it's like sitting down for 10 minutes trying to figure out, and it's like, it's a whole different way of thinking about, reimagining a DAW. I mean, Ableton users are probably rolling their eyes, thinking like, what are you talking about, But for me, I think for us who came from the traditional layout of Pro Tools, Cubase and Logic and all that sort of traditional layout, like arrange window, blah, blah, and mixer window and all that. And I think one of the interesting things was a lot of their plugins did not have that same typical kind of user interface for me, which actually forced me to really rethink, like if I were to pull up a compressor, right, or pull up an EQ, actually more of like compressors and EQs lah. It really forced me that I cannot rely on the graphic user interface, the GUI, the classic GUI.
Right.
So it's like, this one you really have to use your ears and listen. It's a lot of like sliders and bar graphs and values like that.
Yeah.
So it's a different way of thinking. So it was actually beneficial in the sense that it really forced me to try and think of things in a different way.
Interesting.
Yeah. And really in that sense, that project I had to use my ears.
Yeah.
Not look at the screen, look at all the,
the meters.
Yeah, all the meters, and there's always the graphics of the hardware lah, LE2A graphics lah, and all that. You see, yeah, it really did force me to rewire my brain for that moment lah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think with any DAW, give it some time, you'd be able to pick it up. Just, but like you said, Ableton is just a very different layout. Yeah, it just needs some time to get used to it, I guess. Just never got around it.
Reaper?
I've used Reaper before because I had to help a client for something as well.
Yeah.
I think Reaper is easier to use compared to Ableton.
Yeah. I don't like their menus though. But
I don't like the menus.
The menus
it's very old-fashioned.
It's very, but But actually, Reaper, I started using it because there's this engineer. I don't know whether you know who Sunil Kumar is. He was on the podcast,
Right.
You know, so he's one of my former lecturers, teachers, and he's also very, very experienced engineer as well. He does mostly a lot of jazz, you know, concerts and all that. So he actually told me that he switched. He uses for recording. He actually uses Reaper
Okay.
because it is very stable.
Okay.
Because if you use Pro Tools, even for like a live concert, is very high likelihood it will crash.
Right.
But Reaper has been solid.
Okay. Interesting. Just to do the recording.
Just for recording.
Okay.
Yeah, you record on Reaper. So I've done a few things like where I had to do like location stuff. There were some podcasts and things which I had to record at location. So it's like, you know,
Just pull out Reaper.
just install Reaper inside a laptop, and bring the audio interface and just record. And it's super stable.
Yeah.
And it's because it's long recordings. It's like at least 45 minutes, sometimes an hour or so of like non-stop. Rock solid, super stable. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, this talking and geeking out about the DAWs like, yeah. So now at this moment, what's your setup like?
Right. So I've always liked to record drums. So as you know, when it comes to recording drums, you need a lot of channels, right? So eventually, my 8 channels was not enough. I mean, 8 channels is enough, but like when you start having room mics, you've got a kick in and a kick out, and
when you really need to go a bit more detailed.
Yeah. So right now, I think for recording drums, I'm like using 13, 14 channels probably. I recently got an Audion Evo 16. Evo 16, yeah. So that I can aid that with my whole PreSonus. Basically get 16 channels out of it.
Right, I see.
But I mean, the PreSonus, I'm just using it for the preamps. They're fine. They're fine. My main channels I go into the Audion for the better preamps. My room mics just run it through the PreSonus. That's fine. So yeah. So I've got 16 channels running various mics on my drums.
Yeah.
I got a couple of. I got a good deal for an Audio-Technica AT4033. Bought it online, used. Came from Japan, and it was still in like mint condition practically. Got it for like maybe, I don't know, 700 ringgit.
Right.
Yeah. So that's really that was really helpful. Got a few other mics and things like that. Yeah. That's basically my setup.
Yeah. So the PreSonus audio interface that you're using, so you have the audio interface is the PreSonus, right? So that's the what model is that?
Oh, actually, it's a really old model. It's discontinued. It's the 1818 VSL.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the main interface, and then the Evo 16 is.
The Evo 16 is the main.
Oh.
Evo 16 is the main.
So now that's the main interface. Oh, so do you still use the PreSonus then?
I do, just for the extra inputs.
Right. Okay.
They're connected via ADAT.
Oh, I see. Right. So the PreSonus is the extra 8 lah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Evo 16 can have up to how many inputs total?
24, if I'm not
24,
mistaken.
right?
You can
Because
have 3 devices.
They have 2, because they have their own 8 on board, and 2 ADAT inputs at the back. So you can have, 8 analog and another bank of 8 digital and another 16 of digital lah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's nice though. I mean, I used to have a setup which had 24 inputs, and sometimes you need it. And at the moment, I'm restricted to 18. So far, thankfully, don't really need more than 18. It's very rare, but there's been some times where I felt like I needed that extra if I'm doing like a full band thing. So how do you find the Evo, man?
Well, I mean, I work in a music store, so there's always new stuff coming in. And
how do you enjoy it?
I think it's great. I mean, it's definitely not the ID series. ID series. I think the ID's still got better preamps. I think, but the Evo 16 it's cost effective for what it is, and I think definitely a great way to get extra inputs without getting something like a Behringer or
Yeah.
something like that, you know?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think 16 inputs is more than enough for me
Yeah.
right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Have you tried the smart gain feature?
No.
No, is it?
No,
I
I'm
mean,
not.
because that's one of the big selling
Yeah,
points.
yeah,
of
it is.
Evo,
It is
right?
one of the big selling points. It is.
Like,
but
have you tried and play around with it?
no, actually, I'm not.
Well,
Maybe I should. Maybe I should for my next
yeah, I mean,
session.
just for like comparison.
Just to
and
try, right? Just to
and,
try it out.
Because I get I understand why. Because for me also, I like smart gain.
No. I think it's
don't
really
need it.
useful, to be honest. I think it's really useful. Like seeing from the demos, I think it's a really smart feature. In fact, but I just haven't given it a chance myself, I guess.
Yeah, correct. No, but I understand. But it is definitely, there are some. I think even the new 4th gen Scarlett
okay.
has also have
Oh,
this
do they?
auto,
Okay.
also this auto gain. So they take the
Right.
cue from Audience and Evo
Right.
and you know and started implementing that. But I think it's okay to have, because there are literally people who are not maybe have professional background or training who really have no idea about what gain structure is.
Yeah.
So having that at least helps them get into the right ballpark,
Right.
not distorting lah or the levels like
Yeah, but
way
then
too
if they're
low.
always using smart gain, they never learn about gain, will they?
But yeah, you know, I see what you mean, and I know, and I feel exactly the same way as well.
Yeah.
It's cool. I've always been curious to sort of try it out, you know, and I'm more attracted to the fact that you can have 24. Yeah, because the other options for me to get 24 inputs, right, would be, they will cost way more.
Yeah.
A lot more.
Yeah.
You're talking about interfaces that are like 10K more, above 10K already.
Yeah, exactly. They do sell the Audion SP8, which is basically their ADAT expander. So you could have the Evo 16 and 2 of those SP8s to get 24 channels.
Correct,
together. Yeah. I actually have an Evo 4 at home that I use just in my bedroom. Sometimes if I'm just recording one channel guitar, that kind of thing, and for whatever reason a mic, you know.
Yeah.
So from there, I like the quality of the preamps and the guitar inputs. So that's why I decided to go for the 16. For the studio. Yeah.
Mic pre's nowadays, regardless of like
Yeah,
budget,
I think
they've come a long
way. Such
way.
a long way.
Like my first professional, I don't even remember what was it. I actually borrowed it from a friend of mine. You know, he bought one. I can't remember, was it ESI or something like that, you know, one of those brands. Back in those days, you know, the mic piece on that, even though we had 8, it was really blurry.
Okay.
You can really hear like there's like a fuzz,
just a blanket around everything.
just like, you know, there's like a veil, like a thin sheet of veil in front of it, compared to because back then I used to bring that and then compare it to something that was playing right through the console. Right. It's like, wow, night and day difference. But nowadays it's come a long way.
Yeah,
like
even the entry level ones. That's right. Yeah.
You know, it's clean, it's decent. It's more important to have a good source and a good mic. So just now you mentioned the Audio-Technica, the 4033. Is that your main mic now?
I don't think I have a main mic really. It depends on what I'm looking for. Actually, oddly enough, for drums I'm using the 4033 as a kick out mic. I would like to use it as an overhead, but for overheads I would like to have 2 large condenser mics that are of the same model to that, but I've only got one at the moment. So actually for my overheads, I've got some obscure model. I also got it from Japan. It's apparently this mic you can only find in Japan. It's a stereo XY mic, and you can't find much details about it online. But I found that people use it a lot for location sound.
Oh, okay. What is it?
location sound. It's called the 8822, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. So it is an Audio Technica.
It's an Audio Technica,
okay,
yeah.
right.
Audio Technica. So I use that as overheads,
Mm.
as my drum overheads, and I think it sounds great. It
Yeah.
sounds a bit bright, but a little notch around 4-5K, and it sounds great. And
I think correct. Yeah, those that are a little bit bright, maybe you got to check the frequency response.
Yeah.
They are used for for capturing the location. And all
Yeah,
that. So you need a little bit of that,
Yeah.
high end boost to catch dialogue and stuff like
yeah,
that.
that's right. And I've also got a warm audio, WA67.
Alright,
So it's a
okay.
67 clone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I need,
Solid state or is it a tube one?
tube. It's a
The tube one,
yeah,
right?
So it comes
67 is a tube.
with the power supply.
Yeah.
And all. So yeah, I mean that's a very interesting mic. That's a very interesting mic.
Yeah.
You've got with the 80-40-33, you've got just really pristine sound, and then you switch over to the warm audio, and it sounds radio ready. In a way, it sounds like your voice is coming straight from like a radio podcast.
Yeah, it's definitely I'm sure it's very good, very flattering for the vocals. It's based on the U67.
Yeah.
U67.
Sounds great on anything, to be honest. Like I can use it on rooms. I can use it as a mono overhead. I think it sounds great. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So what do you like? Do you get to play with all these toys because you work at can we say the name?
I prefer not to. But warm audio, yes, because that's one of our main brands. Warm audio. So sometimes if I've got a bit of free time,
promoting the product.
Okay. Yeah. If I've got a bit of free time, I'm just I'll just open this mic. I'll give it a test. Plug it into our SSL. Just give it a test. There's one actually right now that's the 47F, which is a fat version of the 47. Yeah. I think that sounds great as well.
Yeah, if I were to get one mic, if I really can afford, I would actually go for that the U47.
The U47, the tube. I mean,
whether
the vocal mic, isn't it?
I would actually prefer the fat version rather than the U47. U47 might, the tube one might be a little bit too dark.
Too warm.
Yeah, like a little bit too dark sounding for that lah. Yeah.
The fat sounds great.
Yeah.
47 fat sounds great.
That would be what I would like. I mean, Audio Technica has the 4047, which is supposed to be that sort of character.
Is that the ribbon?
No, that's not the ribbon. It's also a condenser.
It's a silver color one, right?
I'm not sure. They have, I think, they have it in a normal black.
They've got all sorts of colors,
Yeah, they got the black, but the numbering there, it's giving you a hint that they're
40.
trying to
47, right.
voice it to be like the U47.
Interesting.
U47 fat lah. And I've got another producer who has it, right, and he really loves it. He really swears by it as well. So a lot of sleeper. Audio Technica has got a lot of sleeper mics.
Yeah, and
Audio Technica here.
Audio Technica. This is the 40.
This is actually the 80-20-40.
Yeah, this is podcast mic. Yeah.
This is not even the
highest range,
the high end one. These were the very first ones in Malaysia.
Okay.
I got a whole bunch of them.
Great.
Yeah. So the very first ones that came in, it's like, oh, just release I saw the press release straight away. I call AV United and say, hey, I want to buy one whole bunch.
Do you use this for anything else?
Yeah, I mean, it's mainly for podcasts, but even for live streaming or situations like that.
Right.
I use it. So I got like 5.
Right.
And because they're affordable, I just bought a whole bunch. Because sometimes with podcasts, I need 4, maybe. Yeah, the most. Otherwise, normally it's just these 2 lah.
Have you tried them with any instruments or anything? No.
Actually, good question. No, I've not used it. Yeah.
Maybe it might work if you're doing some screamo vocals or something.
It might. Yeah. I actually have something to that effect already. Also, again, shout out Audio Technica. Audio Technica also. That's the AE 2500. That's the dual element microphone.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, it's the condenser and the dynamic.
You use that for your kick-in, don't you?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. I used to use it for. Actually, I know it's actually designed to be like the kick drum mic.
Yeah.
Actually, I actually never use it for kick. I use it for other stuff.
Okay.
Because it's really. It's good on guitars.
Mhm.
I like to use it on guitars. But what I mainly use it for actually is vocals.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you
Live-
need to do like
like a live vocal. So it's like, the equivalent of having like a SM7
dynamic
or
mic,
an
yeah.
RE20, because I can tap both the dynamic and also the condenser and pick the best of vocals.
That's great. Yeah.
So for live vocals, I actually like using it. And yeah, screamo vocals.
yeah.
Because then Mike can take can take that sort of management.
Yeah, yeah.
There we are. Well,
Sidetrack.
No, it's a good.
Yeah.
The people who are just tuning in and then just listening all this while are just going to be audio engineers here.
Yeah.
Other people were like already tuned. I already lost. I already lost the audience already.
Already close the tab.
I already lost the other listeners like half an hour ago. Okay, so with your setup, like is there something, what would your next dream piece of gear be? If there's something that you're looking to get.
Next dream
your
piece
dream
of gear.
If money
My
is not-
dream gear right now, I gotta settle the acoustics in my studio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's such a good point. Yeah.
I mean, the live room, I'm not too worried because I record drums, and if the room's a bit lively, it's not too much of an issue. But when you want to record vocals, you need a bit more of a more controlled space. Currently, I don't really have that, and so we just gotta work around, find good positions in a room where it sounds the most dead. In my control room right now, it's not too bad, but I'm mainly relying on SonarWorks. It's not perfect, right? It's not perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got to get my acoustics done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good point that you brought it up.
Yeah.
That actually, think because when you talk to most people, it's like,
Gear.
I gotta get this mic, I gotta get this thing. Acoustic treatment is not the first thing that's on most people's mind, but yet it's one of the probably
important,
the most important thing. To getting your room sound right.
It helps with getting the source audio.
I'm not sure how. Have you ever tried like those kind of like what do they call the reflection filters?
Yes, actually, but I don't really feel like they're not really effective, are they?
Okay, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I've tried one before, like I wouldn't say which brand again. Don't want to piss people off. But the more expensive one, you know which one already, lah.
Okay.
The expensive one, lah.
Okay.
Right? It's not really effective. Yeah.
No, it's not.
At least when I tried it in my room, lah. It's probably better than nothing. You know, that if it's like a tone.
Exactly. Better than nothing.
Better
but,
than nothing. Yeah. I found the best is still, and if you have a space of your own, it's just to use like gobos.
Exactly.
Yeah. So maybe it's something you can, make and custom make it, man.
Yeah. I do plan to get some gobos for the room. It definitely needs it, and it'll be useful as well. You can move them around.
Yeah. So when you need it, if you need to control the ambience, or like when you're recording vocals, you can have it. And if you don't need it,
Just put it aside.
Put it aside. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's segue over to something. There's no easy way to transition it nicely and smoothly. You set up your own studio, right? What was the main reason that you did it?
What was the main reason I did
Yeah.
it? Okay, well, honestly, because I used to have everything in my bedroom. And obviously, I've got my parents staying at home, got neighbors. You can't have a whole drum set in the house, Record a lot of times at night as well. So it happens that my parents do have... They have a shop lot that is rented out, and one of the floors is not being taken. So they graciously allowed me to use that floor as my studio. So I moved all my things into that studio, and just really the need to have a space to put all my stuff and to record our things, really.
Correct.
Yeah,
and this maybe is where you can sort of tell a little bit more about your band.
Right. Oh yeah. So I play for the Filters. That's my band. Maybe some of you have heard of them. Maybe not. But yeah, everything is self-recorded, self-produced. we do that. We do that by ourselves. Everything that you hear recorded in Filters is just the drums. Is basically my drums that I've had since I was 12 years old.
Yep.
Things like that. Our whole first album was
Yeah.
was recorded in my bedroom practically.
Yeah.
So
That was before.
that was before moving out. Yeah. So right now we're recording our second album in this new space, and hopefully things will be. I mean, not hopefully it will be better.
Oh yeah,
it will
yeah,
be better for sure. Yeah.
And it's a learn. I'm sure it's a learning.
It's always a learning process. My gosh.
Yeah. So how far along are you guys on this second
Recording song 3
Oh, okay.
out of what? 8, I think.
8. Oh,
9.
okay.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool. I have your first album and you passed it to me.
Have you heard it yet?
A few months back. Yeah. I have.
Yeah.
I managed to sit down and just listen through it. I should have brought it here so we can show the picture. I'll put an insert the graphic here.
Sure, no problem. You can put it in the description or something.
Yeah, correct. So I mean, didn't you guys recently take part in were you supposed to open for take part in a competition for?
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we auditioned to open for Muse.
Yeah, they did the
Yeah,
thing, right?
Yeah,
With
yeah.
It was Kyoto.
Kyoto
It
Protocol.
was you guys. It was
and-
another band called Swerve, and there was one more
Correct.
band called.
I can't remember. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, but yeah.
Sorry, man. Yeah. to that fourth band, I forgot what the fourth band was, but it was I know it was Kyoto. You guys, Swerve. Swerve was a band that I've worked with before.
Okay.
As well. Yeah,
They recorded here.
Yeah, they recorded 1 or 2 singles here. Then there's some of the stuff also they recorded on their own back in the studio over in Kuantan. Enough about them. I'll talk to them about them. Shout out to you guys, man. Swerve, man. Yeah.
Swerve.
So you guys also when maybe a little bit of history. When did Filters form? Because when you were interning here, you were already the band was ready. Party, right?
So the
'Cause
Filters.
I heard you talking about it.
Yeah. So the Filters existed before I joined them. It's the 4 of us, a 4-piece band, and 3 of them they went to high school together.
There was Ian, the other Ian.
Yeah, there is the other Ian, guitarist and singer. There's Ruben, our bassist, and then there's Aiman, drummer. So the 3 of them went to school together, and they had already started playing music together back then. Then come college, Ruben, Ian and I were in the same college while Aiman went to ICOM. So then I started working with Ian to record. I convinced him to come to the studio with me to record other things first, to just work on whatever projects, because we were in the studio, because we were in college and we had the studio. So I just and I knew he could play drums as well. He's a very good drummer, studio drummer. So I got him to play drums for a couple of things, things like that. Then eventually I convinced him, why not try recording the album, So that's what we did. And then I played a couple of shows with them, and eventually, I'm part of the band now. Exactly. Yeah.
So they had been around even back in high school. Back in high
but I
school
mean
already,
nothing
right?
serious, It's just
Right.
they've had drafts of their songs. So really, the Filters have been in existence for like 10 years. But we've only been really active during college time.
Right. How long did that process of doing that album take, though?
Very, very long. I mean,
remember
this.
because you were talking about it for a long time.
Yeah, because this is our first album. Like you said, we're always learning. At the time, it was sort of learning and recording at the same time. So honestly, I think I've lost count how long it really took us. I think maybe 2 years or something. Really, but recorded and then mixed, and then went through another mix revision, another mix revision, another mix revision, and eventually it was a first for many things, like finding out how to even publish our stuff, how to get CDs done,
Right.
things like that. So
Yeah,
that
there's-
was a whole
there's-
learning experience.
Yeah, there's all the whole other business side of things, publishing, distribution,
Exactly,
marketing, which is
yeah.
a whole other
Yeah.
can of worms, man.
Yeah. So it took easily, I don't know, 2 years plus to get it out there, and we
Right.
eventually launched it. We had our album launch in Drum Asia. Drum Asia, and then we've got our stuff on Spotify now.
And I'll leave all those links down there lah. Later you give me whatever links you,
Thank you.
you
Yeah,
want.
sure.
Like what's you usually like? How would the typical Filters kind of a song production process go? Like who starts off with the initial idea, like writing,
Okay, well,
or do you write as a band, or how does it work?
a couple of ways to this. Most of the stuff, because we practice and sometimes we jam, and most of the time it's actually Ian Francis, our singer, who sort of he's got the main idea. He's got main idea from his own head. And
Melody, lyrics.
Usually starts with melody and chords. Melody and chords. Lyrics come last for us most of the time.
Yeah.
And he likes to take ideas from us, because me, Ruben, and Aiman, we come from such different, music backgrounds. And actually, Ruben, he's actually a keys player. He's a very good keys player. He picked up the bass for the band.
Right.
So, and I come from very different musical background compared to Ian as well, Ian Francis. So he likes to take ideas from everything that we've had, or something. Sometimes we just play stuff for fun, I didn't even think much about it, but then suddenly, it's in the next song, that sort of thing. Then he presents it to us, and we sort of go through it together as a band, and we see how is it, if there's any parts that we like or don't like, and then see how we can adjust it accordingly. And how early at that stage do you start actually putting ideas down? Like obviously this is all part of pre-production. Do you already start immediately drafting out a demo? Pre-production demo right away? Or? So we've got drafts, just recording with a phone or anything, just to get melodies and chords down. And then eventually once everything is sort of like done, Ian Francis, he likes to play looper pedals. So he might do a draft out of a loop, or he might just do a multi-track session using just his phone, just to get the whole song. Because our songs can be quite long. They're easily 6 minutes, sometimes maybe 7 minutes. I think we might have a 7-minute song in this next album. So
epic saga.
hopefully you don't just turn it off in 3-minute mark, But so once you've got the whole draft, we've got a full length of draft of the song basically. So once we've got the full length draft of the song, then for this second album in particular, we've got drafts for all the songs.
Right.
Then only we come into the studio to record from song one again.
Then I mean obviously. So you mentioned that quite a lot of this like pre-production work's done by Ian Francis.
Ian Francis, yeah.
Oh right, yeah. So where do you start to step in and to start?
When it comes to the actual recording.
When it comes to the actual recording, lah. Yeah. So does he also work in Studio One or?
Actually, on his own laptop, I think he works on FL Studio. Yeah, but when he's with me, of course, I'm doing most of the engineering work.
How much of the stuff that he works on, gets used, reused in the actual?
We might use some of like the samples and maybe like if there's a particular sound or sample that he really wants in that song, we'll take that. I'll just ask him to bounce it out for me, send it to me, and we'll see if we can use it.
And then you take it from there lah.
But if not, other than that, the drums, the guitars, bass, instruments, those are recorded from scratch all over again.
Okay.
Yeah. And in album one, it was just me and Ian Francis. In fact, Ian Francis played the instruments for everything. I think I played the guitars for a couple of tracks for my parts, but other than that, it was all Ian. And I did the engineering. In album 2 now, we've brought in our drummer Aiman, and we feel that he's ready to record drums, because he's always been a great live drummer, but he's always had a slight issue with recording with a metronome in the studio. So now that we feel that he's much more prepared for it, so we brought him in, and he'll be doing the drumming for all the songs.
Nice. Very cool.
Ruben maybe as well, we might bring him in for the bass, but there are some parts that we might have to record separately. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's really, really cool. And then obviously, you're right. Do you function as a producer, or do you designate amongst between you guys?
I co-produce. Yeah. So the main producer is Iain Francis, because in the end, this song, I think he's got the most clear vision of how the song is supposed to be.
I mean, he writes most of the material. Like, the genesis of the song ideas start from him. Right.
So he's got the main vision most of the time, but he relies on me to have sort of like a second opinion. Sometimes
bounce ideas off you.
Exactly. Sometimes there are some things that he's not sure of, or he's a bit hesitant whether this would be better or that would be better, and he would need my opinion.
That's very good. I mean, it's a very collaborative kind of a
exactly. I mean, it's
atmosphere.
not just me and him. Our Ruben and Ayman are much more involved now in the second album as well. Yeah.
And that's always nice.
Yeah.
I mean, there are different bands who operate in different ways. There are those which are like, you have that one clear band leader who dictates everything, and how it's done and all that. But then on the other spectrum, you have those that are really, really collaborative in nature. That's nice. I think it's you got to strike a good balance between the two. Yeah. You do need someone to have that main vision. I think,
exactly.
Because let's be frank, if it's for one song, the way I phrase it, this is not a democracy. This is not a democracy, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you need somebody to.
You need a producer.
Put your foot down and say, no, I veto the decisions. Blah blah blah. It has to be this way. Yeah. But of course, hopefully we all do it in a nice way and not be a dictatorial, not be a dictator or assholes going about it. That's very, very nice. Yeah. Well, so when's the second album coming out? Question.
I can't give you an answer yet, unfortunately. It'll be next year, hopefully.
Right. Next year being 2024, huh?
2024.
Okay. Yeah. We'll definitely, look forward to more stuff.
Don't worry, I'll pay a visit again for the second album.
Oh, let me just sidetrack back before we wrap it up. Yeah. Did you get to play Good Vibes?
No,
today?
Unfortunately not.
Because you were supposed to be on the third day, right?
We were supposed to play on Sunday, the third day. And it got shut down on...
Okay, all right, yeah. So did you all do the sound check and everything?
We did the sound check, actually. We did the sound check on Thursday. Yeah, I had to take leave for the sound check, and we didn't get to play it.
Yeah, and then day one was Friday, and it was that night itself, the first day itself, where where those whoever, I don't want to give them any more extra publicity. No, that was a shitty incident. Yeah.
Fortunately, we did get to play sort of like a replacement show at Geospace. It was actually Hujan's show.
Correct.
It was hosted by Rio.
Yes.
So we did get to play together with Captain Trips and the Kid as well.
Correct. Yeah. That was like their last minute kind of a replacement,
sort of,
right? To make it up for some of the
sort of
fans, right? Well, that was really, really nice. I think Talitha also, right?
Talitha
she was one of the acts also, because obviously that her post on social media made it went a little bit viral, and then but there was a whole shitty incident lah.
I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. So what's next for the Filters, and anything coming up soon?
For this year, we're going to be playing much less gigs. We do want to focus on recording the second album. But our next show will be at Churro PJ, October 13th.
October 13th. Oh, by the time this comes out, it might already been past that. Anything after that, like November, December?
I'm sure there is, but not at the top of my head right now.
Top of your head. Okay, all right.
But we'll be playing less shows this year. We want to focus on the album.
All right.
But Pop Shovit's playing for Touchdown, isn't it?
Touchdown.
When is that again?
By the time this comes out, it'll probably over. That's actually October 19th and 20th. Yeah.
Is the venue confirmed yet?
Well, it's supposed to be in, I don't know how to pronounce it, Tambalong Park. You know,
Okay.
it's like in like the center of Sydney, like it's like a
Right,
park that's
right.
right in the center of Sydney. But you know, yeah, that's enough about me, man. This episode is supposed to be about you. Yeah. So, but I think because I got a few others lined up, so by the time this comes out, yeah, I think both the shows will be over already. Yeah. So this
No worries.
coming out in about a month's time. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good place to wrap up. Maybe, you know.
Yeah.
Right here, maybe how do people reach you? Want to get in touch with you?
Well, you can follow us at the filters, at _the filters.
Yeah.
At the moment, I don't have Instagram. I have it deactivated for personal reasons.
Too many fans, is it?
No. Yeah, need to filter it out a little.
Filters, you know.
Filter out there.
Yeah, need to filter out, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you can just follow us at _the filters on social media.
Right. Okay.
And
We'll make
follow
sure
us.
I'll put it all down
Yeah.
there anyway. Yeah. So thanks again for doing this, man.
No, of course.
Yeah,
It's
real pleasure,
Thank
you
you
know.
for having me.
No, we should come back and do it another time when the second album's out, you know,
Yeah.
or whenever you have some interesting stuff to talk about, lah.
Yeah, of course. Always good to talk to you, JD.
A pleasure as well. Okay, so shout again, filters, right? It's just the filters, right? Or
_the filters.
underscore. Wait a minute. There's an underscore first, and then the
Underscore,
filters, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's probably like
Yeah.
other filters
filters.
in the world.
Actually, hold on.
Oh,
Let me check. On Instagram, I think _ could be our Twitter, but I'm not even sure. Yeah, _the filters, that's
okay,
right.
all right, yeah. So just to make sure, right? You
Just to
don't-
be sure you don't follow the wrong man.
Okay. So yeah, so follow you guys, okay? And yeah, all the best for you yourself personally, right? Work-wise, career-wise as well. Thanks for sharing your story of how, you know, education-wise, you know, and your career
Yeah.
path. Hopefully someone, right, listens to this and say, oh, one day I want to be like Iain one of these days. And this is a possible pathway that, you know, that's out there. lah. Yeah. And yeah, let's wrap this up. Thanks again for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Bye, folks. Bye-bye.
Together.